Go. Hi, I'm Alan Whitford from rceuro.com. We're here at True London number 4, and I'm joined by two gurus of the industry, Matthew Jeffrey from Autodesk, Kevin Wheeler from Global Learning Resources in the US. We've had some interesting debates today, primarily about, on one side, that in Recruitment 4.0, that the recruitment team in-house is central to success of an organization, even to the point of becoming a profit center. On the other side, actually, in-house recruitment is dead and actually has no future at all. Kevin, why don't you start?
A very simple argument. If we look at the trends in every function within a corporation that's not core to its money-making, profit-making generation, you see that they're being outsourced to third-party organizations, and recruiting is no different and going to be subject to the same thing. So the bottom line is that if something is generating revenue for an organization, is key to its new products or whatever, it will be retained internally. Recruitment is neither is a transactional function for the most part. I think what we're going to end up with is an internal recruitment function that will be primarily a strategic planning function and a vendor management function, and that all of the actual recruitment will be farmed out to either agencies, RPOs, or contractors who might be hired by the company to come in and do that. Another reason for this is the fact that corporations are trying to reduce their fixed costs, lower their headcounts, and this gives them a tremendous amount of flexibility over those costs.
But Matthew, you said that recruitment can become a profit center. So therefore, wouldn't that imply that if they're a profit center, they get judged by the same values that sales, product, and so forth do, and therefore they may still have life at it?
No, I'd agree. And so for me, for my generation, Kevin was a real poster boy for me growing up in recruitment. I now think we need to get back in touch with the sort of Kevin's a consultant and he advises, but I'm in there doing it, and I think that's the key thing that we've got to focus on. In-house recruitment teams can sell that company with far more passion and far more knowledge than outsource people who are focused on profitability and getting that next buck in. So what I would say to Kevin is to go back and reconsider who can sell a brand better, the in-house company who are passionate about their company, or the outsourced person who's just focused on money selling for a range of companies.
You're making an assumption that all external companies have no passion or interest in the company they're recruiting for, and their only interest is making money. I'd say that, of course, they're interested in making money, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with making money. I would say to the contrary, in order to make money consistently, you have to perform well. Corporate recruiters have very little incentive to perform well. They're not really going to get laid off for lack of performance unless it's truly, absolutely
Do you truly
atrocious.
believe that with the stats in the recession when you see in-house teams being slashed?
Oh, they're being slashed because of budget cutting, but the people that got slashed were not necessarily the better or the worse recruiters.
So the best recruiters could go on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you really believe that?
Oh,
I've seen
it happen.
No,
I've seen the ones with the political connections stay. Come on, we're a dream world you live in.
A corporate team is going to get rid of its best recruiters and keep its rubbish.
Absolutely.
Last in, first out,
Last in, first out, highest salary. I like you a hell of a lot better than I like Alan. Whatever it is, okay?
Yes.
I'll find an excuse. So I don't think that's a legitimate argument. I would say that if I am truly in business to make money consistently over time, if I want to have a good reputation and pick up other clients, I'm almost forced by that to perform consistently better and more efficiently every year.
Yes, but if you've got the best recruiters on your team, you'll maintain them because a business survives by the quality of talent it gets in. Do you believe that Tinkerbell can fly?
Yes, I do.
Well, that sums the argument up. You're living in a fantasy land.
I don't think it's a fantasy land at all, Matt, and I'll tell you why. I work with a large number of very good RPOs and agencies. They have consistently maintained their contracts with their clients for 5, 7, 8 years. They have produced exceedingly good people for that corporation. The corporations are doing very, very well financially.
But you would say that because they're paying your salary, so you would be
No, they
more
don't pay me a penny. The only people I get no money from any agency or RPO at all. The only money I ever get is from corporate clients that I advise. Okay?
And you believe then that the corporate clients, the best way forward is an RPO of people who
I
don't
tell
know
them
the
that
company.
every day. I tell all my clients that. I advise my staffing managers and organizations that downsize their teams to think about hiring them people back as contractors.
Does that not worry you that a corporate client is listening to you to tell them that they're going to scale back their in-house efforts to give them to outsource people who don't know the business?
It seems like it would worry you.
Outsource people.
It's going to worry you.
My CEO would actually turn over in their grave.
What I'm telling them
They
is
think I'm dog-smacking crap.
I'm saying keep Matt on staff. He's incredibly valuable. Pay him even more money, but put him as a contractor outside. And give him the opportunity to run his own business, to make his own, negotiate his own salaries. Instead of being under this corporate, slavery model, what's the benefit of that? I don't get it.
So under that corporate slavery model, those companies, the RPOs, are focused on the active pool. All the people you can get off a job board, you can go to Monster or Total Jobs. They're not out in the passive pool. How many in reality are providing the passive pool? If you truly believe that, then you're actually believing that Audrey Hepburn is the most beautiful woman alive today.
I think we've got a couple of cloud cuckoo people here in both elements.
I will just say this, that I actually work with RPOs that do social media far better than any corporate client I have, that do a phenomenal job of building talent communities around professional groups of people, have segmented them into potential pools for various clients that they have, maintain them well, hire people to maintain them well, do a fabulous job. Corporations, in my experience, do social media generally quite badly. They don't have the resources, they don't have the ability to hire the capable people internally, because a recruiter internally needs to be sort of a jack of all trades, and they can't really just focus on community management.
So
lots of issues.
So we're going to have to call a winner here in a second, because I think we're running out of tape.
So when you go to bed at night, do you worry that the corporate clients that you're advising are obviously not listening to your advice? Because if an RPO is listening to your advice and the corporate clients aren't, then that must be a concern. You can't sleep at night. The advice that you're giving to your corporate clients isn't being listened to. So that must make it restless for you.
My clients are outsourcing a tremendous amount of their work. And not only that, I feel very, very good because I know the recruiters are being treated better, and they're better paid, and they're probably much happier than they were working for that internal client. And they're still working for the same client for the most part. They're still working for that client. But if that client has a bad patch and they're suddenly made redundant, they have the resources of this RPO to get a different job, to go and be redeployed somewhere else. So from a recruiter's perspective, far better to work for that RPO than it is to work for a corporate client that could lay you off in a minute.
Yeah. So Matt, it sounded to me like Kevin's got a very cogent argument, certainly in the U.S. marketplace, which is less reliant on agencies, where here we have a history of using agencies anyway. I'm going to give you one chance to rebut this, but I think we're probably going to have to close here, because so far it's looking to me pretty much like Kevin's winning this argument.
So I would disagree with that, because I think Kevin's actually founded in the politics of laziness. So Kevin's focused on the old school traditional recruitment 1.0, that let's farm everything out to people outside the business who can do a better job. I think that if you have a great recruiting leader who understands the business,
actually.
I think Kevin's in recruitment 0.5 at the moment. And I think we need to bring him up to speed in what we need to do. A great in-house team who are passionate, who want to sell that brand and take the company forward, you can't beat. You can't beat. An RPO out there, some agency, if they're doing it better, then you should sack the in-house team. And that's what I would do. And I think if you were leading an in-house team, you would do exactly the same.
If I was leading an in-house team, the very first thing I would do is find a way to turn most of those people into contractors, or have them work as an independent, buy out their own, start their own business, or go to work for an RPO and supply.
And if I was a recruiter under you, I would walk out because you're not developing my career, you're not interested in my career development and training me, so I could never work for you, Kevin.
But
that might be a shock to you, but I could never work for you.
But the RPO would develop you and train you. And
never, because they're interested in money. They're interested in the money. It's the dollar.
Based on the technology limitations we have now, can we return this to the bar? We're going to call it an equitable draw. And come back to the next installment.
That was a crushing